Good morning, everyone. This is Miss T. I wanted to do a follow-up on the upload I did about the children who jumped on the lady and her children. I was trying to see if there was more updates other than the one that I seen, and I really haven't seen any after that one, but I'm going to still continue to look for any. I first want to say that the community did rally around this lady and her kids, and I might have said it before, but they've I believe they bought her a car, got her a new apartment or a new place to live, and helping her out with those kind of things. And I think that's great. That's wonderful. I don't really hear that a lot when the community comes out and supports something like this or something that happens to somebody, and that I think that's a wonderful thing. But one of the things I wanted to address was there were, I believe, 3 mothers who replied to the incident, and well, yeah, there were 3 mothers who replied, but the mother, supposed mother of the 2 little boys, and I think the 2 little boys were the ringleaders, or one of the little boys, and the other one was just his brother. They found out where they lived, and there was a mob of people outside her apartment yelling for her to come out, and they were going to jump on her and her kids. Now this is not the way to handle it. I understand their frustrations and for being mad and wanting to, because if you've seen the video, it was so sad, and the woman just was helpless, and she was trying to defend her kids and herself. It was sad, but violence does not beget violence. That's not showing the kids that you shouldn't use violence to fix a problem, or to use violence, period. How are you going to teach a child not to be a bully when you have a group of bullies outside their house screaming at their mother to come out so that they can beat her? But the situation that the kids were in, I guess the mother is, they say she's she drinks and pops pills, and she's a squatter. She was evicted from her apartment, and she went to go live with her mother, I suppose, with the kids, and somehow, whatever, somebody set the house on fire, and so they became homeless. So now they're back at their old apartment that they got evicted from, so they're all squatting there, including the grandmother. So it looks like the situation in that home is not a good place or a healthy place for the children. I would rather see those people come to a conclusion that the children need some type of psychological help, and maybe the mother too, and maybe they could have helped her get a place for them to live. Like I said, most of the time, your home, does reflect how you act outside, but sometimes you can do the best you know how. You can whatever, and your children are still going to be however they turn out. That's just the way. I mean, that's just sin. You can love your children. You could show them affection and give them pride and strength, and then they can still turn another way. And that's so you can't blame the parent. I do know all of these mothers, all these children came from single parent homes. I don't know if that is a factor, but it just seems like their living situation is not, when a child is hurt, when a child is hungry, when a child has nothing or doesn't feel like they have anything, there's nothing that they're happy about. And so their way of coping is to make other people unhappy, lash out at other people, innocent people that have nothing to do with their home life. They just have to get out whatever issue, whatever pain, whatever is making them upset, whatever they feel inside. They just need to get it out. And some people, you take, or what is your saying, choose violence. I don't think that mob ever got a hold of that woman, thankfully. Maybe just this whole situation will make some changes in a lot of places. Bullying is really it is a big problem everywhere, every city, every school, every grade, bullying has been bullying since bullying started. People pick one person, maybe two, a lot of people. There's just, back in the day, it was mainly, there was a bully in the school. Like there might have been one bully who bullied everybody. I told a story about our bully, but he was a bully, but he didn't bully kids unless you did something to him. He bullied the classroom, the teachers, things like that, like tearing up books and throwing chairs out the windows and stuff like that. So he was just big, and kids were not going to mess with him. So when it was time to tell on him, when the teacher comes back to the class and he done threw 4 or 5 chairs out the window, and we're all sitting in there and we're asked who did it or who, and no one's saying anything. That's when the bullying, because they know you don't turn in the bully. You don't, especially in front of the bully. Kids are put in so many predicaments. They have to maneuver. They have to be adults, make adult decisions before you're even adults, because it's just how to maneuver going to school and learning if you're in a constant uproar, if you're in constant just destruction and dysfunction and scared to go walk home, and teachers don't listen, because you can tell a teacher somebody's bullying me, or so and so is, and they don't really take that as a threat. Like if they don't see it and the kids aren't fighting, or there's not a issue in the classroom with they're not really concerned, and they don't understand that that bullying can turn into other things, and no one has the right to bully anyone, and no one should have to fear going to school for an education and fear for their life. That's just not acceptable. And if we work on minor things, they think big things. We need to start from the beginning. Start in kindergarten, starting at home. Don't let the siblings bully each other at home. Make there be a big consequence if they're bullying their brothers and sisters. Teach them why bullying isn't good. Be an advocate for your child. Just stop, we need to stop thinking, okay, I did my job, they're in school, just set them free. Teachers teach them, because teachers they're teaching, they're not learning. They're teaching them what they're supposed to. They have a curriculum that they're supposed to be at this grade, at this grade, at this grade. But if a child is beyond that, that's where you might lose that child, because you're holding that child back. If they can already do all those things, they're going to think, I already know this, so I don't even need to participate or even be here. There's some kids that learn faster. There's some kids who are intelligent, have high IQ. So we need to set a better example. If you look at other countries and how they put the importance on education, and that's why their children are way beyond what the children in the United States are. In some parts of Africa, kids go to school at the age of 2 or 3, and they're expected to know, the ABCs, color, have a head start, and they're expected to come to school unified and follow the rules at that young age. We just, not saying that 5 is not Head Start or whatever, but we make it seem like kindergarten and Head Start are just like daycare, preschool, let them have fun no, they need to be well disciplined from the beginning, because if you go to school, you don't have any structure, and you have never had structure, you're not going to learn what you're supposed to learn, because you're going to be too busy getting in trouble and being sent to the office or whatever. And the further you go, it's going to turn out to be problems from other issues, because you didn't really learn what you were supposed to learn. Now your reading is not that good, and you don't want to read in front of the class, so you don't participate. It's just the snowball effect. So yeah, we need to prioritize the importance of making children successful, especially Black children, because they're going to already have obstacles in their way. Racism is blatant. They're gonna have a taste of racism before they really even know what racism is. There's a program, the government gives the schools funding for children who are behind or considered delayed or slow. And so they'll pick any child who acts up or who has a bad attitude, comes to school and gets in trouble. They'll put the child in that program, and then your child is labeled the whole time. So your child that follows them through their whole school career. And so how are you going to get your child into college and they have an IEP? It's just a vicious, it's I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but so there was the other mother that responded. Her daughter was the one who punched the lady in the face, unprovoked, of course, because this lady never swung on anybody. She never pushed anyone. She never threatened, and she didn't do anything but try to hold her kids to protect them. So this little girl punched her, and I think that punch was the one that might have, she might have fell or So her mother, and I assume it was her mother's sisters or the rest of the family, got on social media to explain that what we seen on the video was not the child, because what she said is people are coming on social media and portraying this child to be something that she's not. Well, no, what happened was the child came on social media and portrayed herself to what we seen. We can only go by what we seen, and we seen that this little girl punched this grown woman in the face. And I didn't know at the time, people thought she was pregnant. I guess, we sometimes have a little, after having kids, your body might not snap back the way it used to be, but I don't know if the kids thought that, but even if they didn't, it was still just outrageous. But so, of course, the little girl was coached into saying, the things that she said. Not a tear was shed. She said they said she gets A's and B's, and she was the captain of her cheerleading team, and all these wonderful things. And that's good. That's great if she gets A's and B's and she's the captain of her cheerleading team. Maybe she should have been at cheerleading practice instead of punching a sick woman in the face and jumping on her with a lot of other children. Maybe that's what she should have done. And if she gets these good grades and does all these wonderful things, then she should know that what she done was absolutely unacceptable, and she should not have been participating. Parents will make up excuses for their kids. If my kid does something wrong, or if whatever, we're gonna talk about it, because I tend to try, before you used to everything that was said about your child, the teacher say, you believe the teacher. You tend to believe the teacher because you don't think that they would, once again, you just have to live and learn. Teachers will lie. Teachers will make up stories on your child, especially if your child has been a problem child. Everything's going to be blamed on that child, no matter what happens. He could be standing in the hallway, somebody pulled the alarm and they ran, and he's or she's standing there. She's going to be blamed because, of course, until they find out the truth. But this is teaching her or him that you have a stigma, you have a label on you already. They label you the bad child, the bad kid, the bad seed. And so you're going to Not to say that you didn't do things to cause this label, but it's still not a good thing for a child to be punished for other people's actions just because they have a bad name or whatever. So you still have to find out the situation first before you go, because if you always constantly, the teacher calls blah, 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 and then you go jump on your child and scream and holler and da-da-da-da, what kind of security do they feel that they have? They don't even have understanding security at home is where they should have it at. And then you also have to make sure that you know your child, because then they will take advantage of that. I'll just, if your parent is always on your side, because some parents is like, I'm on my child's side, right or wrong. Well, that's not a good thing, because you shouldn't teach a child that wrong to do wrong. That's not how life is supposed to go. If you want to make your child be a successful adult, and have a good life, or be free of all other situations, you just have to let your child know that you're still going to love your child when they do wrong, but you need to teach them that wrong is not acceptable. Some kids have no choice. Their parents, they learn their behavior learned from their parents. The little 12-year-old girl who unalived the neighbor at a barbecue because her mom got in a fight with the lady, and her mom told her to get the weapon and shoot her. Now, what was she supposed to do? She's a child. Her mother told her to do something, and she did it. So yeah, pray. Everything I end is go to God and pray and stay with God, because this world is there. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is, like I said, wrong is right and right is, it's just, we're mixed up in a crazy world, and you can't get away from it. You're not going to be able to escape it. You're just going to have to trust in God and pray to God to keep you safe, sane, understanding, on guard, sending your guardian angels to look after you, just all that, because it's just going to get worse. I'm sure in 2026 we're going to hear and see new things, because some of the stuff that happened this year was shocking to me. I've never heard of, so who knows what next year, which is not too far away, is going to bring. So yeah, they explained to everyone to stop judging this little girl because she gets good grades, and she is basically what they were saying is she is a model student. But what confuses me, or makes me question, how do you be a model student? How do you have all these great qualities, but you not only were in this mob of children attacking this woman, you hit her. There were other kids that were just there watching. There were other kids there that were maybe saying stuff to her or intimidating, but they didn't put their hands on her. You actually hit her, balled up your fist, and punched her. So this model student has time to have extra curriculum added, after school, because it just seems like you're A student and A and B student, that your first thing when you get out of school is you go straight home. It seems like to me you have structure. So you're told to come straight home, get your homework done first, and whatever chores you have after that. And it seems like to me you have structure. Somewhere in between you being an A and B student and all this other stuff, there's something wrong. Something's happening. Something's giving you mixed signals. But what I liked was the fact, now I think this was her mother who was talking on one side of her, and then her two, either her aunts or whatever, were on the other side telling everybody to stop judging her and she's a good student. But her mother was putting out, what you did was wrong and there's no excuse, So I'm glad there's somebody that's making, because the way the aunts were talking, the child was probably like, she didn't feel, she did wrong and she knows she's never going to do it again because of what happened. But it's like they were taken up for her actions, so she didn't really think it was a big deal. But her mother sure thought it was a big deal, and even if it was just for the audience, she talked sense, like, we're not, basically saying, we know she gets A's and B's, but it's still, what does that have to do with the fact that she balled up her fist and she hit that sickly woman in her face? And the reason why they're saying that this little boy was being bullied is because they were saying his mom was on crack. I guess when she has her spell, when she gets into this, she has lupus, she can't walk really well and she can't talk that well. Don't ask me why this means, well, I guess, but whatever. So that means to bully the little boy because you think his mother smokes crack. Well, where would that come from? Maybe because they've seen grown-ups mistreating people they consider less than or low in the gutter because they're on drugs. Maybe this is well known, but because people knew these kids and said they wreak havoc everywhere. So I don't know if they were talking about just the two boys, brothers, or the whole group, because Miss A and B and captain of the cheerleading team in junior high couldn't possibly be running around with a crowd who runs amok through the community. Couldn't have been her. So anyway, that was that mother, and I don't know the mother's names. I wouldn't say it. You can go look it up for yourself. The third mother, it was the daughter who spoke out first. Now, what I didn't understand is what the daughter was saying sounded personal. So I was like, I didn't understand if at first, I didn't understand if she was saying that there was a connection between the lady and her family, but then I found out or realized she was answering to the people making comments. So if someone said that the little girl was wrong and somebody needs to do this and her parents need to do that, she was answering to them personally, because she started talking about, that's why your so and so was buried in an outfit that didn't match. I um yeah, about someone passing away and not having the proper attire on, or maybe not having enough money to send them off in, a fancy way. I don't know. But that's who she was answering to. She wasn't answering any questions about why her sister was jumping on a grown woman, who was, first of all, the woman probably was smaller than all of the ones that were jumping on her. Had that been a 5, 8, 9, 6-foot woman weighing something, them kids, they still will say something smart because they're just kids. They wouldn't have attacked that woman. Not with their hands. I mean, they attacked that woman, first of all, because they could. She was vulnerable and she was little. She didn't look authoritative. She was littler than them. And whatever other evil thoughts, because there's no answering why a child would think that it was okay to not to put their hands on an adult for no reason, but to see that she could not really walk or talk that well, that was like, well, we know she's weak. We can, this will be easy for us to do. All we have to do is, do this or whatever. So like I said, the sister got on and she did her spiel about whoever replied to these or got on social media and said what needed to happen to this girl. She made it personal against the people that were replying. It had nothing to do with the situation or the woman being harmed by her little sister. So the mother that I need to, the mother of the little girl, I really didn't hear her response, but I believe that she got arrested for unrelated situation after that. So it looks like the whole situation, that these kids weren't in a good situation or a good spot or a good place, but we always wait until something happens to try to make a difference. We know why things happen differently in America and what goes on in America and who's priority in America, because it surely isn't any of us. Other countries have the nerve to think that education can make their country better. Educated children can make their country better. What nerve? So they focus and spend their money, time, efforts to make sure that these kids get a free, great education. Sometimes it might out of the in the situation, the kids sometimes are held hostage. I mean, they will make them go to school all year round. There is no breaks, and they don't have. Your break will come when you graduate and you're successful. That's their break. Or your break will come when you go to college or whatever, because you've already passed where the basics, and you're able to surpass what they think See, what the United States thinks is that you can live with a, is it fifth, sixth, one of those grades, fifth, sixth, seventh, I believe it's fifth grade, that you should know, already know everything you need to know to live or to maintain a life outside. You know, if you were to drop out of school in fifth grade, you should still be able to be successful, or not be, to maintain, to be able to have a job, you know, because you've learned all the basic things that you need to know. Now, first of all, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm pretty sure if they said fifth grade, I'm sure if we read it had something else along with it. It didn't just say that. But why would you want to set a goal that says, you know, as long as you get through fifth grade, where you, after fifth grade, there's other things that you still haven't learned that you should be able to, you know, make it through life. Okay. So I suppose that your reading isn't gonna be all that great. So I don't know. I don't know who comes up with it. I don't know where this logic comes from. When is it bad to overachieve? When is it a bad thing to want to learn something more than just to be enough, just to be enough? When is it bad to want to be more than just enough? It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, yeah, it does. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, it does. There are exceptions. There probably are kids in fifth grade who can become very successful if they drop out, because they already have, some people are already born with the knowledge, the I'll call it the learned gene. Like, have you ever met someone who can just do anything? Like, is there nothing that you can't do? You can fix a car, you can fix a TV, you can make a souffle, have you ever met that type of person? Just know, can you tell them, teach them, or they read a book, learn the steps and just do it? There are people like that. It's a natural thing for them. It's just in them. But that is not everybody in the world. Some people need to be taught differently. Some people need to have one-on-one education. Some people need to have extra help learning, you know, tutors or whatever. So don't lump everyone in the same, same little box and tell them they should just scratch that anyways. Fifth grade, please. Who's gonna have a fifth grade mind and be able to function out in the world? That's just ridiculous. But anyways, and so our country, the United States, cares less and less and less about education. You can drop out of school at 16. There shouldn't be any law that says you can drop out of school. Who do you see where everything is just where this country seems like how they put people in there's got to be some people lower, in the middle, and then higher up in the upper class. Everyone should have the same start. Everyone should have the same resources to be successful as everyone else. We don't care what, the other people in the other countries don't care, what class you're in. You're going to learn. And it's to the point where they're not even caring about the child learning. They want it's not for their personal knowledge. They want the child to learn to better their country. If they can make a better bomb, or they can make they're scientists and they can come up with it. That's what they're breeding. They're breeding super, what do you want to call it? Not superhumans, but smart, intelligent children who grow up to be great adults who can invent whatever, can come up, can make cures for whatever. This is their mindset. Our mindset in the United States is, well, we're going to have people who are poor. We're going to make people poor that have to depend on the government so we can control it. We're going to make people in the middle that make a little bit more money that can help take care of the lower people, but we're still going to control what they do. And then we're going to have the rich who make us money, the economy better, and their taxes can help, but we're still going to control what they do. And then we're going to have the elite that control what everybody's doing. I say they need to throw away the whole book, throw it all away, start from scratch, make everybody even, and they would never want to do that, because they know who would be on top. We're gonna leave that alone too. Leave that right there. But back to the situation. So yes, this just showed us a little bit of, now the only reason why this got out on social media is because one of the kids stole the woman's phone. And the one, because evidently they were either filming this on her phone. I don't know. Whoever brought the phone home to tell their parents, look what happened, they put it out on social media because they thought it was horrible. Or whoever, however, that's how it got out. Somebody put it out because they stole her phone, had the whole thing on the phone. Now, first of all, they didn't mention that, because that right there, on top of assaulting her, they stole, that was theft, because they stole her property. And yeah, I just pray that the group of people who decided it was a good idea to show up at the woman's home to beat her up also thinks it's a good idea to call for some type of help for these children, and go look for any other children who might be slipping, who might be falling, who might be, not getting the education that they need, or not being looked at seriously, or don't care. Oh, we'll grade their papers. They might not know how to spell 6 words out of 7, but we're going to give them a C, a D, passing, as long as you pass them. Then, no child left behind. But what it really is it's still a child left behind. Because they're not going to be able, if they're not learning anything, they're going to be behind in life. So you're just basically what they should say is, no child embarrassed to have to take this grade over again because they didn't Now, you can tell the difference between a child who doesn't catch on as well as others, and they might need extra help. But if there's just a child in here that just wants to come to school and be a clown and, you know, throw chairs out the window and do all that kind of thing, darn right, leave them behind. We don't care that you're going to be a famous comedian in 10 years. You need to get, you're first of all, you're stopping other people from learning with your antics because you're interrupting the class. We didn't ask for comedy hour. That's fine that you have a personality, you can make people laugh. That's haha, that's funny. That's great. But you need to sit down and learn other things just in case you don't become the next Eddie Murphy or the next Cat Williams. You need to know how to maybe fix a car or run a computer or something else. You need to have a lot of skills in your is it repertoire, whatever, so that you can, you know, one thing doesn't work out, you can do another. We just don't think that it's always just enough. We want just as long as, some parents, D's and C's is fine, because as long as they're passing, they're gonna pass. You know, that's fine. There's kids in families that if they bring home a D, there's gonna be, it's gonna be war in the house. A D to a parent who prioritizes education and grades, that is an F. A D is an F and a C is an F. Anything below, and sometimes if you don't get straight A's, you're in trouble. So them A's and B's is the only acceptable grade in some families. Anything else is called failure. We take it as passing is good enough, just enough. We don't care if they got a D minus, they passed. And so when you have that mentality, you're not making someone successful. You're not making someone, you know, try harder or, you know, work harder or helping them, you know. And they don't want you to sometimes. Now, this is a perfect example. If a child is a little bit behind, you know, they're good, they have good skills or whatever, but they're a little bit behind in reading, you know, big words or whatever, and the parent says, I want my child to get extra help, I'm going to hire a tutor. And the teacher says, no, they don't need a tutor. We'll just spend extra time working on their reading skills. Okay. And then the parent doesn't see the change, and we're still hearing from the teacher that this person doesn't want to read in front of the class or doesn't even want to participate in the class. And because, you know, kids don't want to be called names or be called dummy, you know, that kind of thing. And then you still, well, do they need a tutor? I feel they need, no, they don't need a tutor. Okay, after the first time, just don't even tell the teacher, don't even discuss with the teacher what you're going to do. Get your child a tutor. They need help in whatever the teacher says they are behind in math, can't, whatever. Just if you can afford, get your child a tutor. If you are able to help them yourself, help them yourself. If there's somebody in your family who's able, get them the help that they need. Don't let a teacher tell you, no, it's going to be all right, we're just going to give them, because to me that sounds like We don't really care if we don't care if he knows how to read or comprehend words or any of that. We're just going to pass him. They're going to have enough credits to graduate. Isn't that the main thing, is that they have enough credits to graduate? No, that's not the main thing. The main thing is that they get an education. We're not on the same page here. We're not on the same level. You're not on my level, because what I expect is not what you expect. All you expect is for the child to show up, participate a little bit, maybe not participate at all, just sit in the class, and they're going to pass. We're gonna get them passed. They're gonna be all right. We're gonna get them graduated. That's the main thing. They won't be embarrassed because they didn't get graduate. They'll get to walk with everyone else and party and have fun and go to the prom. Have all the good fun stuff that happens in high school. And then the day after graduation, they can figure out what their life is going to be, because they don't know how to read that well. So that that job application is either going to have to go home with them so someone else can fill it out, or it's going to have so many mistakes on it that it doesn't even get past the manager of the fry machine. We our priorities are not, have never been, well, I'm not going to say never been. Our priorities are not in order. Don't tell me that our black children cannot be geniuses or be leaders or have communication skills, can be great doctors, when at 2 years old they can say, at 2 years old, can barely talk, but they can say, "Are you cool?" Or rap to every rap song there is, or put their boots on the ground, or whatever else that they do. That I've seen, yeah. There's some babies that, now it might just be coincidence that you say something to them and they say it back, but it happens too much. So are we underestimating, babies back in the day were babies. What people are having now are when they're born, they're ready to learn. They're ready to understand. You can even look at their faces, like, what's going on? What is happening here? What is going on here? Because I want to know what's going on around here. So no, I'm not going to lay down. I'm a day old. I'm going to pick my head up and look around and see what's going on. Who are you people? And what are you doing? And who's that person over there with their pants hanging down to their kneecaps? Who is that? That's my dad? Oh. No. Let me get back to the point. So if you really want to make a difference, want to have something different, start in your home. If you're a grandparent, because grandparents have they're in a good position where they're at, because don't nobody get to tell grandma and grandpa nothing. Grandma and grandpa get to say whatever they want to, and you have to accept it, because my grandma said whatever the heck she wanted to, and you can get mad, she don't care. You can say, Grandma, that you can, and she don't. Grandmas, especially grandmas, grandpas are a little bit more compassionate. You know, they know their wife is nuts. They know she can be a handful because that's what he put up with. So he kind of, kind of softens the blow after she hits you with the left hook. But grandmas can say whatever they want to. So if you see your daughter and your daughter's got the kids sitting around all day long playing nasty video games and cussing video games and eating cereal and nobody's cleaning the house, grandma gets to come over there and tell her to get, and she gets to call her names if she feels like it. And she'll do it in a way that is so embarrassing, and it'll make the child think, okay, this isn't how we're supposed to be. It's not right. This isn't what we're supposed to be doing. Grandma said we're supposed to be reading books and learning to do all other things, and we're supposed to keep our rooms clean, and grandma said we're supposed to do these things. And so and they listen to grandma, because grandmas come before, they're higher than mothers. It's in people's family. You don't mess with grandma. So if she comes over there and tells her you're trifling, no good, whatever, get your kids off of the video games, give them structure. At what, during the weekend, they get up at a certain time, they get the help get the house clean, laundry is to be done for the week, their homework should have been done and before the weekend even started, and you need to stop running men in it. Oh yeah, she gonna tell it, she gonna get your home straight. And if you don't, you still lack and try to do stuff behind the back, the kids will catch on, because they're going to tell. They'll act like they don't know they're telling, but they'll tell on you. They're going to tell. They're going to make sure, because if they like the way that grandma came in and she made your mom get up and clean the house, and your laundry was done, and there was actually a full meal with vegetables and fruit and whatever, you're gonna like that. You're gonna want that again. So when she slips, tries to go backwards to what happened to her, you're gonna tell when you talk to grandma. You're gonna act like you don't know you're telling, but you're gonna tell. Grandma, remember when mom cooked that, fried that chicken and made us mashed potatoes and stuff? It was good. Wasn't that good? When you say that, you nudge your brother and yeah, that was good. And she's like, oh yeah, did she fry? No, nope, that was the last time we had it, was back that, when was it? Yeah, they're going to tell, and grandma's going to get it all straight. Now, and this time grandma's going to say, if I hear, yeah, because grandmas can make your life miserable. The grown kids' life's miserable. For some reason, they forget that they were a mean mother, but they're a wonderful grandmother. I don't know what it is. And I wonder if it's in other people, other races do that. Your mother was mean to you. You couldn't get nothing in it. Don't ask for nothing when you go to the store. And don't talk and don't do it. But the grandkids can do whatever they want to. And ask them for money and get it every time. Like what? Maybe it's the mind they have that, okay, yeah, I might have been rough on your mama and your daddy. I might have called them a couple of names and smacked them upside the head a few times. I probably was wrong, but I don't have to do that to you, because you'll listen and you can go home. I don't have to keep you here. So maybe that's a different mentality, because grandmas sure get different. They sure do. But the bottom line is, it can be done. There can be a successful single parent home. No, is it a good ideal? Nope, it's not. But do we just say, oh well, we give up because that's the situation? Nope, we don't. We have, when they say it takes a village, it really does. There's aunts, cousins, uncles. Sometimes there's people, just all kinds of people around that can help. There's who care, who actually care. Now, if you're just going to be, the whole place is ratchet, I don't know what to say about that. But if you love your child, if you love your grandkids, the whole family just loves on everyone, you're going to want everybody to do good. You're not going to have cousins that fight because one has a good job and is wearing a whatever, and that kind of stuff doesn't go on when you have a loving family, or a caring family. They treat Uncle Brian the same as cousin Jimmy, who brings money and hands out to the kids, but cousin Brian doesn't have a job and he's kind of dirty looking and everything, but they still love on Uncle Brian just as much as everybody else. He's not sitting off somewhere and kids get to go by and laugh at him, and they have to show him respect because he's an adult and he's a part of the family. And yeah, he's still respected. And if you don't respect him, you don't show him respect, there are consequences. You can always tell. You can always tell how a family, a parent, or whatever, is their personality, or what, by their children. Now, and you can also tell if your friend, your so-called friend, talks about you in front of their kids. They don't mean to talk about you in front of their kids, but the kids are just there. They're your friend, but they're telling your business and talking about you behind your back. Their kids will treat you different. They'll treat you like you're not to be respected, like you're a joke or whatever. Just try it out. You can just learn a lot by keeping quiet, keeping your mouth closed, and listening. You'll learn a lot that way. You'll find some things out that you don't want to know. You'll find things out that you did want to know, and you'll find out extra stuff. And that's why it's always important to keep your little structure, your little community, the community that you keep, the close friends, the associates. It's always good to do spring cleaning when you need to. I don't care if it's spring cleaning in the winter, summer, fall. Sometimes you need to do spring cleaning all year round. Maybe you need to throw out everything and just start over. You know how you get, I'm just going to get one of those big giant trash things and just throw everything out and just start all over. It's time to start over. Some people need to start over. But yeah, we need to make sure that we keep communication with our children, our grandkids, or whatever. Have a relationship where they don't mind coming and talking to you about anything that's going on in their life, that they don't have a problem coming to you and telling you, or they don't have a problem coming to you and telling something that they feel is not right, hoping that you will make a change or do something about it. Let your granddaughters, your daughters know that it's okay to be a virgin until you're married. Would be the great way to do it, but we also know that could sometimes be, not the way it's going to go. But what you would want to teach them is the right thing first, and then the other thing, if you can't, you teach them the way to be safe and make sure it's right for them, not just because they feel that they will be passed aside or they're going to lose that person if they don't. Because you'll find out that little 15 seconds you could have kept. And okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, so I've been on here long enough. Basically, our community needs to step up. We need to stop talking and do something. Stop going around and making speeches and setting up round tables and just a group of people to get up and do something. Other people will see you doing something. They might say, "Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea. Let's do it in our community." Well, let's and that's how things roll. Get the ball rolling, because if not, everybody's just going to sit around and talk, and then the next time that a group of kids jump on a lady and she becomes unalived, then it's really time to do something. We gotta do something, because we didn't do something the last time that this happened, and now look what happened, and we didn't do this and that. Yeah, people do a lot of talking. So put your money where your mouth is. If your kids go to that school, you have an investment there, your children. You need to make sure that your children are safe. You need to make sure that your children are learning. You need to make sure that the teachers are treating your child fair, and treating them right with how they're treating the other students. Teachers decide how they're going to treat your child by the way your child acts, regardless. And even if your child is a good student, raise their hand and answer questions and all that kind of stuff. If Susie is a little bit behind your child, and Susie is the right child, your child might get looked over a little bit, because Susie has to come up, if you know what I mean. But I will end here. I don't know if I can find any more information, because they'll have something in the media for so long, but something else new will come up and it's better, or the story is greater than that, and that'll get put on the back burner, and we'll hear the new story. But basically, we all know that the children are some children are not in a good situation, and not getting help, and not being heard, and we can't blame the parents every time. Now, in this situation, I might say, yeah, possibly blame it all on the parents. But we still have to understand that they're children. They're only going by what they learn, or what they see, and how they're taking out their pain and hurt and their frustration, just like anybody else would, if they don't know the skills to, or don't have the opportunity to have someone to talk to, or to listen to them and their problems. Because kids don't have problems, which they shouldn't have major problems, But kids have problems, especially if they're in a single parent home, and especially if they're amongst the oldest. They're a surrogate parent. They have to be a kid and a parent. They have to make sure their brothers and sisters are there. If they eat, they have to make sure they eat. They have to make sure that they have clean clothes for school. Some of them, they do their siblings' hair. Just everything. And then they still have to maintain their grades and go to school. Maybe have a social life. Maybe, have fun on the weekend. Maybe. But let's just stop thinking, every other person, not you, every other person, every other family, every other community is horrible, and our community's fine, so we just sit back and no. All the communities, some communities are doing better than others, but we're all still needing for change, needing to stop fighting one another. If your child is in the street acting a donkey, what used to happen to us, we get drugged by our neighbor and then get beat by our parents. Nowadays, if you don't touch my child, it's a whole different dynamic, and we see it ain't for the good. If our neighbor cared enough about our child to drag their behind out of the street and take them home, that was a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But we have to find a way to get it in between, because we're not going to have everybody on the same page, where everybody's not going to be on board with everything. There's some people who love confrontation and love to get into issues and love to fight and love to get on Facebook and get on all the social medias and drag your name through the mud and tell all your business when they get mad at you, and they, all that kind of stuff happens. And so the dynamics are different. What I would say, if you don't want your business told or leaked or whatever, don't tell it to anybody. Don't tell a secret to anybody, because it's not going to be a secret anymore. And don't tell your business, and then you won't have to worry about it being spread when someone gets upset, or you just didn't know all of a sudden that they've been envious of you for years and wanted to, do stuff to you anyway. And that's family members included. It's mainly family members. But anyways, I've been on here long enough. I hope everyone has, a great week. Stay blessed. Read your Bibles. Pray to the Lord. Stay hopeful. Stay open-minded. And until next time.